The wedding day dawned, crisp and clear, but the groom Liam Harrison was nowhere to be found. My phone buzzed with a notification. A social media update from someone I followed posted a minute ago. I instinctively swiped to dismiss it, but my finger slipped, and I clicked into the app. It was Serafina Young, a name I barely recognized, someone who hadn't posted in years. The image that filled my screen sent a chill down my spine that had nothing to do with the morning air. Serafina, clad in revealing lingerie, smiled provocatively at the camera, barely concealed by flimsy lace. Beside her, Liam was captured mid-turn, his eyes, usually so reserved, lost in adoration as he gazed at her. In his hand he held a camera, the very one I had gifted him for his photography passion. The caption beneath the photo read, "Boudoir shoot." Of course, I had to ask him to capture my intimate moments. A strange calm descended upon me, cold and absolute. With a steady hand I tapped the like button and then, with deliberate slowness, typed a comment. "Please inform Liam the wedding is cancelled." Less than 2 minutes later, Liam's phone, which I knew he kept off during important events, suddenly rang. It was him. "Aurora-chan, are you out of your mind? That was just work. Why on earth would you post such a comment?" His voice was sharp, laced with an indignant fury that completely ignored my feelings. "You need to apologize to Serafina immediately, or I swear I won't show up for the wedding. You'll be the one left humiliated." I simply hung up, the click echoing the finality in my heart. Turning, I walked to the microphone at the altar, my wedding gown rustling softly. "The groom has committed infidelity," I announced, my voice clear and unwavering, cutting through the murmuring crowd. "Please everyone return home." With that, I placed the microphone back, turned my back on the stunned faces of our guests, and walked out of the opulent ballroom. This marriage. Let whoever else wanted it have it. Stepping out of the hotel, I was met by the sight of Liam and Serafina hurrying towards me. Liam was dressed in a white suit, not the bespoke black one I had carefully chosen for our wedding. Serafina, startlingly, wore a full white wedding gown, and on her finger gleamed a diamond ring, one that looked uncomfortably familiar. "Serafina is so understanding," Liam began, his arm wrapped possessively around her waist, his gaze softening as he looked down at her. "She was worried it would be too much trouble for you to go apologize in your wedding dress, so she came herself." "Apologize?" I echoed, a cynical laugh bubbling up. "And pray tell, what exactly do I need to apologize for?" My eyes swept over their coordinated white attire. "You two are certainly busy, aren't you? A private photo shoot in the morning, and a wedding in the afternoon." Liam's patience, thin to begin with, snapped. "I already explained on the phone, didn't I? I was working. Why are you being so unreasonable?" He tightened his grip on Serafina. "Instead of understanding me, you doubted me, and even slandered Serafina. And you ask why you should apologize? Because your comment deeply hurt Serafina's feelings." I crossed my arms, my gaze sharpening on Serafina. "So you're Serafina, the assistant Liam hired without proper procedure, are you?" Liam's face visibly darkened, and Serafina's expression crumbled into one of profound victimhood. Her body trembled, and her eyes welled with tears as she clutched at Liam's sleeve. Liam immediately pulled her behind him, his demeanor chilling. "Can you please think before you speak? And try to be a little gentler with your tone." His voice was cold, accusing. "Serafina is 1,000 times more capable than you ever were. What's wrong with me making an exception for her?" He glanced at Serafina, then back at me. "Serafina is still a senior in college, not even graduated yet. Your shrewish attitude has probably traumatized her." I merely raised an eyebrow, my gaze sweeping over Liam and the weeping Serafina behind him. "Oh? So this assistant, 1,000 times more capable than me, is also so timid?" My tone was dripping with sarcasm. "If she's scared by my demeanor, how does she handle your more difficult clients?" I paused, a wry smile playing on my lips. "In fact, your assessment makes me question your judgment in hiring Liam." Before I could continue, Serafina's sobbing escalated from behind Liam. He quickly turned, his face etched with panic, as he solicitously wiped her tears. "I see your assistant seems to excel primarily at crying," I noted dryly. Liam whipped back around, his eyes blazing with fury. "Aurora-chan, aren't you being a bit excessive? You were nowhere near as capable when you first graduated, yet you demand so much from a newcomer like her? Do you realize the blow your words will deal to Serafina today? Apologize to her now." I stared at Liam, a strange sense of unfamiliarity washing over me. When I graduated? I scoffed. When I graduated, I built my own company from scratch in just 3 years, making it quite well known in the industry. The startup capital for your private photography studio came from the very first pot of gold I earned after graduation. My voice rose, filled with a righteous indignation. How dare you bring up my graduation? Where do you get off, Liam? Liam's eyes darted away, unable to meet my gaze. Don't change the subject with irrelevant nonsense. You will apologize to Serafina. Right now. His voice hardened, a renewed threat in his tone. Otherwise, don't even think about this wedding going smoothly today. Without a word, I began to tear at the seams of my pristine white wedding gown. The long train ripped away, the delicate lace shredded, until the dress transformed into a simple white cocktail dress, revealing my legs. Which eye of yours saw that I wanted to have this wedding? I challenged, my voice laced with disdain. Don't be so full of yourself, I beg you. I smoothed down the now shortened dress. Besides, I'm just being considerate, aren't I? If I don't back out, how will the mistress take her rightful place? Wouldn't you agree, Assistant Serafina? Serafina, who had been subtly caressing Liam's fingers, flinched. But it was only for a moment before her eyes brimmed with tears again. She stepped forward, tears streaming down her face. Sister Aurora, she whimpered. I tolerated all your sarcasm and mockery just for Liam. But now I simply rushed here from the studio and put on the wrong clothes by mistake. She gripped her dress, tears flowing freely. Sister Aurora, you're a woman too. How can you humiliate me like this? Her words were directed at me, but her gaze was fixed on Liam. I wonder, I mused aloud, feigning innocence, if my little sister's major in college wasn't acting? Liam, seemingly oblivious, chimed in. How did you know? I looked at Liam as if he were an idiot, ignoring his comment. What's wrong with studying acting? Serafina here is a multi-talented individual. A true all-rounder. Liam interjected, stepping forward protectively. Besides, we were truly in a hurry after work, and Serafina just grabbed whatever was convenient. Do you really need to be so petty about something like this? I crossed my arms again, a sardonic smile playing on my lips. So let me get this straight. You two finish a private photo shoot, Serafina just grabs any random outfit, and lo and behold, it just happens to be a wedding gown. I shook my head slowly. And by an even greater coincidence, today just happens to be our wedding day? And even more coincidentally, you Liam also grabbed the wrong suit, a white one, instead of the black one? I thought you were only colorblind to red and green, not black and white. My eyes narrowed. And Assistant Serafina's social media post, the one where you Liam are bare-chested, clearly shows you wearing wedding black trousers. Did you specifically change your pants just to match the wrong white suit jacket? I thought you two were in such a rush. Where was the time for a wardrobe change? My barrage of questions left Liam speechless. Serafina retreated behind him, completely silent. Just as I was about to deliver the final blow, Serafina suddenly burst out from behind Liam. She lunged, extending her leg towards me. Instinctively, I sidestepped and swiftly retaliated with a counterkick. Serafina landed on the ground with a thump. I stared at her, both shocked and amused by her ridiculous maneuver. She sat there crying hysterically, her voice hitched. I just saw a man behind Sister Aurora, and I thought he was trying to harm her, that's why. Liam knelt down, gently helping Serafina to her feet. He pulled her into his embrace, his eyes filled with tender concern. She's such a brute, he murmured, caressing her arm. That kick must have really hurt. Let me rub it for you. My apologies, little sister, I said lightly, feigning a sweet tone. It was just a reflex. Liam glared at me, his face contorted in anger. Aurora-chan, you've truly disappointed me. Is all your martial arts training just for bullying people? My eyes turned cold at his words. Liam Harrison, has your conscience been devoured by dogs? My implication was clear, but Liam, knowing he was in the wrong, immediately tried to change the subject. Anyway, Serafina was just worried about you and acted impulsively. She was trying to help you, and you kicked her and injured her. He straightened up, his voice ringing with absolute finality. Aurora-chan, I'm telling you this now. If you don't apologize to Serafina properly, we're getting a divorce. Yes, Liam and I had registered our marriage 7 years ago. Back then, fresh out of college, Liam had proposed to me with a ring fashioned from a soda can. His eyes, full of adoration, had held only me. He promised that once he was rich, he'd buy me the biggest, most beautiful diamond ring. When I accepted, Liam, ecstatic, had swept me into his arms and spun me around in front of everyone. And so, we had legally married. However, we were both busy with our careers, and the wedding was postponed again and again until this very day. 3 months prior, a colleague from Liam's studio invited me to lunch. During our casual chat, I learned that Liam had hired a new assistant. Even then, a small alarm bell had rung in my mind. 4 years, Liam had never had an assistant, and he always discussed every aspect of his work with me. This time he had kept it a secret. When I casually asked him about the assistant later that day, he had suddenly flared up. He told me not to meddle in his work, that he had his own plans and arrangements, and suggested I spend my time improving myself instead. At that moment, a quiet voice within me whispered, "Our marriage is probably coming to an end." "All right, Liam Harrison," I said, a chilling calm in my voice. "Let's get a divorce. Now." I reached out and grabbed his arm, pulling him towards the exit. Serafina, who had been trying to discreetly link fingers with Liam, suddenly stretched out her hand as if to stop us. "Sister Aurora, please don't be like this. Talk to Liam, please." I paused, realizing she wasn't trying to stop me at all. She just wanted me to see the ring on her finger. I stopped, then abruptly reached out and snatched the ring from her hand. "Isn't this the ring I commissioned?" I demanded, examining it. "Why is it on your hand?" Serafina feigned a look of bewilderment, turning to Liam. "Liam, I had no idea this was yours and Sister Aurora's wedding ring. I just thought it was pretty and put it on. I completely forgot to take it off." Liam stepped forward, attempting to wrestle the ring back from me. "Serafina is still young, she hasn't seen many nice things. She just thought it was pretty. You're 7 or 8 years older than her. Can't you just let her have it?" With a surge of strength, I clamped down on Liam's hand, twisting until I pulled his own wedding band from his finger. Liam winced in pain, his face contorted in anger. He probably felt humiliated in front of his beloved assistant, because he then raised his hand as if to strike me. "Have you no shame, Liam? Where do you get off? This ring was custom-made with my money," I snarled, holding both rings up. "Your money?" Liam scoffed, his eyes filled with contempt. "You've been unemployed for years. Where would you get money? All the money you spent came from my hard work. After starting my company years ago, it had quickly found its footing. I poured my heart and soul into it, making it thrive. Back then, Liam would spend his mornings photographing, then join me at the office in the afternoons. Not long after, both of Liam's parents fell seriously ill. We worried about trusting strangers with their care, so Liam began caring for them full-time. But with 2 ailing parents, Liam couldn't manage alone. I began working from home to help him care for them. However, their condition worsened, and seeing Liam's growing exhaustion and heartbreak, my young, impulsive heart made a choice between career and family. I sold my company, putting my successful business aside to join Liam in caring for his parents. After their passing, Liam held my hand, telling me he wanted to open a private photography studio, and that I had worked hard enough and should rest at home. Seeing his apparent consideration, I agreed, pouring all my savings into funding his studio. Though I said nothing, Liam repeatedly promised me he would never personally photograph clients. He would only handle approvals. At the time, looking at the man before me, I felt a deep sense of security. But now Liam had utterly forgotten my sacrifices, morphing into a complete ingrate. I took a step back, then slapped him across the face. "Liam Harrison, have you perhaps forgotten? This ring was crafted from my mother's dowry, repurposed. What does it have to do with you?" My voice was cold, biting. "And don't you forget, your studio wouldn't be where it is today without me, Aurora-chan." I tossed both rings at his feet. "Let's go. What are you dawdling for? Weren't you going to divorce me? The Civil Affairs Bureau will close soon." Liam's face was a mask of furious humiliation, but he remained rooted to the spot, refusing to move. Serafina, perhaps wanting to fan the flames, suddenly darted forward. She took tiny steps towards me, then began bowing furiously, her whole body trembling, large tears splashing onto the ground. "Sister, I'm so sorry, so sorry, so sorry." Her voice was a choke sob. "It's all my fault. If I hadn't come today, you wouldn't be angry. Don't blame Liam. He's truly had it so hard. I glanced down at my phone, pretending to be engrossed, ignoring her theatrics. Serafina, seeing I wasn't responding, spoke again, her voice thick with tears. Sister, I truly know I was wrong. Please forgive Liam. Sister, I know you're upset, but you have to think about Liam too. There's truly nothing going on between us. Then, incredibly, Serafina began to slap herself one after another. But the sounds were muted, more like a gentle caress than a blow. Sister, I'll punish myself for you, okay? Sister, please, I beg you, don't be angry anymore. Liam, perhaps seeing an opening, softened his tone. Aurora, we've had our fight. You've vented your anger. His voice was almost tender now. Considering. It's our wedding day, just apologize to Serafina. Let's not waste any more time here. Once you apologize, we can go ahead with the wedding. I finally lowered my phone, lifting my gaze to look at Liam as if he had lost his mind. My dear, are you unwell? If you want to apologize, you go ahead. If you want to get married, go get married. Stop dawdling here. Are you ever going to be done? I was utterly exhausted by their charade. I turned to leave, but Liam lunged forward, grabbing my arm with surprising force. Fine. You're something else, Aurora-chan. Fine. We're over, he snarled. I retorted casually. Over means over. The next one will be more obedient. With a surge of power, I flung his hand away, then swiftly pressed down hard on his arm. Liam gasped, beads of sweat breaking out on his forehead. I patted his brow. So weak? What kind of man are you? Marrying you was truly a mistake. I then cast a disdainful glance at Serafina, who was trembling beside him, before turning and walking away without a backward glance. Behind me, I heard Liam's impotent roar of frustration and Serafina's anxious cries as she rushed to comfort him. Rounding the corner, my legs suddenly gave out. I leaned against the cold wall, my body shaking uncontrollably, cold sweat chilling my skin. Tears finally began to fall. Liam and I had been together for 7 years. To say I wasn't heartbroken would be a lie. My heart was made of flesh and blood. The more I invested, the deeper the wound. In this high-stakes gamble of love, I had lost everything. But I wasn't a foolish romantic. If there was mutual devotion, I would pour all my love into it. But if the other person strayed, I would reclaim my love completely, turning away without hesitation. Wiping away my tears, I prepared to leave. Just then, a man's voice called out from behind me. It seems you're not as strong as I thought, are you? Hiding here. Feeling sorry for yourself. I turned to see Julian-chan, my half-brother. We had started our company together. When I had so decisively decided to sell the company back then, Julian had been furious and immediately left the country, cutting off all contact with me. This was our first meeting in years. Over time, I often heard from mutual friends about Julian's progress. He had started a company abroad, faced immense difficulties initially, but persevered alone. Now he was a successful entrepreneur, a multimillionaire. My heart is made of flesh and blood, I said, a wry smile touching my lips. Am I not allowed to be sad? We exchanged a familiar glance, a silent acknowledgement that all past grievances had dissolved with time. Just as I was about to speak again, a car horn blared behind us. It was Liam and Serafina again. Seeing me with another man, Liam couldn't contain himself. He strode out of the car, extending his hand as if to pull me away. I quickly tucked my hands behind my back. So Aurora-chan, you were cheating, weren't you? He accused, his voice thick with self-righteous anger. You deliberately played the victim, didn't you? No wonder you suddenly called off the wedding. You already had another lover. I stepped forward and without hesitation, slapped Liam across the face. Liam Harrison, if you had an ounce of sense, you wouldn't say such things. My voice was cold and sharp. Open your eyes, you fool, and see who this is. Serafina, feigning innocence, stepped forward and gently held Liam's arm. Liam, don't make it difficult for Sister Aurora. Every woman has a few close male friends. I casually glanced at Serafina, admiring her ability to stir the pot. Sister, Julian exclaimed, looking at Liam and Serafina with feigned confusion. Do you know this couple? Who are they? They're so rude, commenting on others so casually. Julian's eyes were wide and innocent as he looked at me. I stifled a laugh. Julian always called me by my full name, never sister. Liam's face stiffened, a flicker of guilt in his eyes as he looked at Julian. Oh, it's my brother-in-law, he said, forcing a smile. Why didn't you say hello when you came back? Sister, Julian continued, ignoring Liam. Why is someone casually calling me brother? Should I call the police? I'm so scared. Don't bother, little brother, I replied, rolling my eyes. We'd just be wasting our time with people like them. Listening to our sarcastic exchange, Liam's face grew increasingly ugly, his eyes blazing at me. Julian and I ignored them completely, turned, got into the car and drove away. What was going on with you, sis? Julian asked, shaking his head. You were so devoted to that jerk, even giving up your successful career for him? Seeing my calm expression, he pressed on, bewildered. Don't tell me you're still hung up on him? How did our family produce such a love-struck fool? I chuckled. No. I'm just thinking about how to handle the division of assets in the divorce. I stated firmly. After all, Liam Harrison cheated first. If I don't make him leave with nothing, it wouldn't be fair to all my years of sacrifice. Cut your losses, always cut your losses. Julian gave me an approving look and said no more. It was late when I arrived home. Liam still hadn't returned. I was secretly pleased. It was better if he didn't. Over the next few days, I shuttled between my studio and home. When I arrived at the studio, Liam's employees rushed to me, eager to complain. I have to say, Aurora, this new assistant is far too arrogant. She's just an intern, yet she docked our pay because we didn't greet her. One complained. And the most ridiculous thing? Liam actually approved it. Exactly, another added. Some of our staff have financial difficulties, and we usually help each other out. But Serafina, she actually mocked them in front of everyone for being poor and wearing cheap clothes. Right? She's just an intern, not even graduated, who gave her the right to be so arrogant. And Liam just keeps indulging her. Aurora, when you go back, you really need to talk some sense into him. These employees had all been brought in by me for Liam's studio. They were skilled photographers from various companies, each capable of leading their own projects. Over the years, countless photography studios had tried to poach them with high salaries, but they had all refused. Liam wasn't good at maintaining these relationships. For years, I had been the one to foster good relations with his staff. They had stayed out of loyalty to me. I continued sorting through my things, a small smile on my face. I can't control that anymore, I said lightly. I'm divorcing Liam soon. The employees exchanged surprised glances, then rushed forward to embrace me. Don't be sad, we're here for you. If you've been wrong, tell us. We're your support system. My eyes welled up as I looked at these people who had become true friends over the years. I nodded, deeply touched. Hey, Aurora. If you're getting a divorce and Serafina keeps bullying us, then I'm leaving too, one declared. Me too, another echoed. We're all leaving. I didn't stop them. They were independent individuals free to make their own choices. I respected every single one of their decisions. After finishing with the studio, I began sorting through my belongings at home. Throughout this time, Liam never showed his face. Meanwhile, Serafina updated her social media relentlessly, sometimes posting up to 10 times a day. I casually clicked on one photo. It was Liam again, taking another set of private photos for Serafina. The caption read, "He told me I was the first and the only one." Liam had been working for years, and I had repeatedly asked him to take similar photos for me. He had always refused, citing a promise he'd made to his employees. He would never photograph any woman intimately, not even his wife. At the time, I had felt a quiet pride, believing I had found a man who valued his commitments. How ironic that his solemn promise was now broken for Serafina. I clicked on another photo, Liam eating. The caption, "I hurt my hand cooking, and his concern makes my heart flutter." Perhaps she saw my viewing activity, because Serafina began sending me a barrage of videos and photos from a burner account. The content was filled with their daily intimate gestures, clear evidence of their affair. Looking at the sheer volume of material, I thought Serafina was truly foolish. Her main social media account was tagged Couple Daily Life, and unsuspecting netizens had been drawn in by their sweet, everyday posts, commenting on how adorable and enviable they were. Now, without me lifting a finger, she was practically handing me all the evidence I needed. I meticulously saved every video and image she sent, spending hours compiling them into a single damning video. Just as I finished and prepared to rest, the door suddenly opened. I assumed an intruder, never imagining Liam would return. Cautiously, I approached the door, and as soon as I saw a silhouette, I executed a swift sidekick. Liam crumpled to the floor, clutching his chest, before slowly propping himself up. Seeing it was him, I offered no apology. My bad, I said dryly. I thought you'd booked Serafina for the entire year. Didn't expect you to suddenly return. I noticed a fresh bruise on Liam's face but didn't ask about it. Liam, however, couldn't hold back. Once he stood, he glared at me, his face contorted in anger. Fine. You're really something, Aurora-chan. I knew you wouldn't give up so easily, he accused. And you said you wanted a divorce. I see now you were just playing hard to get. Is this amusing to you? What happened to you? Changing into such a person. He scoffed. And you've become a stalker, haven't you? What, did you accidentally like Serafina's post? Do you know that because of your one like Serafina almost fell from a great height? Before I could retort, my phone rang. I rolled my eyes at Liam and answered. Hey Aurora, did you see the news I sent you? It was Julian. That guy, that girl. Aren't they your ex-husband and that mistress? Ha 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 ha. It's hilarious. Check your phone. Hanging up, I clicked on the news link Julian had sent, utterly bewildered. Shocking. A woman attempting to jump from a 1-meter-high stool. Man tries to intervene and falls flat on his face. I shoved my phone in Liam's face. Are you out of your mind, Liam? 1 meter high, and you call that a great height? I stared at him, incredulous. Are you serious? Are you really serious? A flicker of awkwardness crossed Liam's face, but he quickly recovered shamelessly. It's not high for you, of course, but for Serafina it's completely different. He waved his hand dismissively. Stop with these ridiculous arguments. Come with me to the hospital and apologize to Serafina. I stared at him, genuinely shocked, then burst out laughing. You mean she actually got injured from a 1-meter fall? I cackled. My goodness, you two really are a match made in heaven. Trash for a trash can. Absolutely perfect. I shook my head. Enough of this. If you have time, sign the divorce papers. Liam was about to argue further when his phone rang again. What's wrong, Serafina? What injury is hurting again? I'm coming right away. He hung up, and before I could even tell him to leave, he bolted out of the apartment in a frenzy. Watching Liam's retreating back, I felt a strange sense of detachment. When did this man, who once ran towards me with such eagerness, start running towards someone else? Perhaps it was my recent irregular eating habits, but my stomach suddenly seized up with a sharp pain. Clutching my abdomen, cold sweat beaded on my forehead as I curled up on the sofa. I fumbled for my phone and, with what little strength I had left, called Julian. Then my head swam and I passed out. When I woke again, I was lying in a hospital bed, and 4 drip in my arm. Julian sat on a stool beside me, fiddling with his phone, occasionally checking my drip. Awake? Want me to get you something to eat? He asked. I was indeed hungry, so I nodded. As Julian stepped out, I heard Liam's voice, conversing with my brother. Liam, likely still resentful from my repeated mockery and Serafina's injury, was being very rude to Julian. What? Is your sister too ashamed to show her face? Did she send you to apologize? Liam scoffed. Julian's voice, cold and sharp, cut through him. Go look in a mirror. Your face is so thick, a mirror can't contain it. How dare you, a cheating man, play the victim? Julian continued, his voice rising. Last time my sister was there, so I gave you some face. But now, why should I give you any respect? Do you have a conscience, you ingrate? Who was it? Julian demanded, his voice thick with emotion. Who saw you being bullied and secretly learned martial arts, only to come back and protect you, and now you call her a brute? And who was it? He pressed on. Who took a blow for you, fracturing her hand, but bit her tongue and said it didn't hurt because she was afraid you'd worry? And who was it who gave up her own company to stay home and care for your parents? Julian's voice cracked with anger. What? Does the ingrate now think he's rich and powerful enough to drop the pretense? He leaned in. Even dogs would steer clear of someone like you. People, being naturally curious, quickly gathered around, and soon Liam and Serafina were surrounded, subjected to a barrage of accusations from the growing crowd. Julian returned to my room with clear broth and small dishes, then sat on the edge of my bed, looking at me hesitantly. I chuckled, he'd always been transparent. I spoke first, praising him. Good job, little brother. You know how to protect your big sister now. When Mom and Dad come back, I'll tell them to get you extra drumsticks. We exchanged a knowing smile. Just then, Liam and Serafina, the latter leaning heavily on him, walked into our hospital room. They looked genuinely surprised to see me. "What are you doing here?" Liam demanded. "Sister Aurora, what happened to you?" Serafina chimed in, feigning concern. Julian and I ignored them, continuing our conversation. Julian explained that they had complained their previous room was too noisy and had requested a transfer. My eyes casually swept over Serafina, then again and again. I still couldn't pinpoint where her mysterious injury was. "Serafina," Liam said softly, his voice full of concern, "be careful with your hand." My gaze finally settled on Serafina's hand. Oh, a scraped patch of skin. I couldn't help but burst into laughter. Julian followed my gaze, then he too started laughing. Soon, the quiet hospital room was filled with the sound of our shared mirth. "Liam Harrison," I called out, my voice laced with a newfound authority. "Remember to sign the papers. Otherwise, I'll be forced to take legal action." Julian chimed in. "Sister, I know Attorney Henderson. He's one of the top divorce lawyers in the industry." "You're amazing, little brother. You really are a multimillionaire CEO." I praised, knowing it would irk Serafina. Serafina secretly glanced at Julian, a calculating glint in her eyes. She was probably already setting her sights on my brother. Liam gritted his teeth. Seeing that I was serious, he finally responded, "I'll sign them today." Fearing he might drag his feet, I urged Julian to go back with him and get the divorce papers signed immediately. Soon, only Serafina and I remained in the hospital room. Serafina dropped her act, casually sitting on the bed with a smug look. "Sister, if I were you, I'd be so ashamed." She sneered. "The man you loved for 7 or 8 years was stolen by a college student who hasn't even graduated yet. How can you sit here laughing and chatting, sister?" I took a sip of my porridge, a light smile on my face. "Because I've always relied on myself, dear sister. After all, I'm not like some people who can't live without a man, am I?" I shook my head slowly. "Little sister, I suggest you go home and read more ancient novels." "Why?" "Because the probability of you transmigrating to ancient times might be higher, and then you can go to an environment that suits you. After all, if you were in a palace harem, you could cause absolute chaos." I took another spoonful. "But frankly, relying on men is quite pathetic." "I think you're just jealous of me," she retorted, her eyes flashing. "Just you wait. The day your brother falls for me, I'll see what you have to say. I'm waiting for you to beg me to leave." I shook my head, smiling faintly. This person really has a screw loose. Julian returned with the signed divorce papers, Liam trailing behind him, his face visibly pale. I took the papers from Julian, then smiled brightly at Liam. "Ex-husband, I wish you happiness, though it seems it might be quite difficult for you. Don't worry, you can always watch me live a happy life." Seeing my relaxed demeanor and radiant smile, Liam seemed to be lost in thought. After all these years together, I knew what he was thinking. Our interactions hadn't always been like this. We used to laugh, tease, and play together. But as life became more complicated, we grew quieter, more distant. Perhaps for that brief moment he was remembering what we once were. Noticing Liam's unusually subdued state, Serafina quickly moved to comfort him. "It's all right, Liam. You still have me at the studio." Liam spoke softly, almost a whisper. "What studio? I left with nothing." "What?" Serafina shrieked, her voice sharp with panic. "Liam, how could you leave with nothing? You're so foolish. Isn't that studio yours? You need to get it back. Without the studio, how will Liam live?" Her eyes were red, her face frantic, looking as if she wanted to snatch the papers herself. "It's fine," Liam said, forcing a calm tone. "I still have some premarital assets. We can start another one." Serafina's worried expression finally relaxed. "What's wrong, Serafina?" I asked, a cutting laugh escaping my lips. "Are you relieved Liam still has money?" My sarcasm was brutal. Serafina's face flushed with anger, likely because I had exposed her true feelings. But seeing Liam's silent disapproval, she only glared at me, not daring to argue further. After all, neither of them could ever win an argument against me. After being discharged from the hospital, Julian had barely dropped me off at home when my father called. "How could you get divorced without telling us?" We had to hear it from Julian. My mother, agitated, snatched the phone. "I told you Liam was unreliable. But it's okay, dear. It's good you divorced him. You have your mom and dad now." Father grabbed the phone back and I exchanged a look with Julian, both of us sharing a helpless sigh. Aurora dear, are you interested in taking over the company now? No rush, take your time. Father continued. You know, your good-for-nothing brother is completely unreliable. I smiled. All right, I agreed. Julian gave me a grateful nod. He was successful in his own right now. Why would he follow my old path, abandoning his own thriving business for someone else? Besides, I genuinely enjoyed managing a company. A few days later, Julian suddenly messaged me, complaining that Serafina kept sending him messages, all suggestive and ambiguous. It was time to release the video. I uploaded the compiled video I had prepared, then paid several popular influencers to repost it. In an instant, Serafina became a trending topic, her reputation plummeting. Netizens swarmed her comments section, cursing her. Serafina had no choice but to delete all her posts. Liam, still foolishly loyal, called me, claiming everything was his fault. He told me to direct my anger at him and not to bully Serafina. I found a convenient excuse to meet Liam, because seated discreetly behind us were Julian and Serafina. Liam sat down about to speak when Serafina's syrupy voice drifted from behind us. Brother Julian, you're so handsome, and your physique is amazing. Do you work out often? Brother Julian, do you have a girlfriend? Or Brother Julian, are you perhaps looking for an assistant? An assistant again, I thought, a sardonic smile playing on my lips as I glanced at Liam. His face was a mask of fury. Aren't you Liam Harrison's assistant? Julian asked casually, feigning ignorance. Isn't he good? Good? Not at all. Serafina scoffed loudly, clearly hoping Liam would hear. He has a terrible temper and is such a chauvinist. He didn't even cherish someone as wonderful as sister. Aurora, he's truly terrifying. She leaned in conspiratorially. Wouldn't you agree, Brother Julian? Serafina probably knew my standing with Julian, so she cleverly included me. But I thought you liked Liam Harrison? Julian pressed on innocently. Didn't your social media say couple daily life? What are you talking about? Serafina exclaimed, her voice rising in feigned indignation. Liam forced me to do all that. I don't like him at all. Brother Julian, you're the one I like. Liam could take no more. He stood up abruptly, turning to face Serafina, his face contorted in rage. Seeing him, Serafina's eyes widened in shock. You're here. I should be asking you that. Liam snarled. What is the meaning of this today? Liam lunged forward, grabbing Serafina. The two began to tear at each other, right in front of us. Julian and I, ever so helpful, kindly called the police for them, then turned and left. For the next few days I didn't see Liam, and I was absolutely delighted. My joy, however, lasted only a few days before Liam ambushed me, downstairs from my office. He held a bouquet of my favorite roses, and from his pocket, he produced a small box, opening it to reveal a ring. Aurora, he began, his voice thick with what sounded like remorse. Only now do I realize what a complete idiot I've been. He stepped closer, his eyes pleading. I was truly not a human being. I allowed Serafina to mislead me, and I hurt you. I apologize. His voice was choked. I'm truly sorry. Aurora, he continued, taking a step towards me. When I first saw Serafina, I saw the old you. I thought of how much you struggled back then, and I just wanted to help her. Who knew I would fall into a trap? I truly know I was wrong. He reached out to take my hand, but I slapped his hand away. Get lost. I snapped, my voice sharp with disgust. There are countless pitiful girls in this world. You must have a lot of people to help. Then, I scoffed. Stop making excuses for your infidelity. Stay away from me. You're disgusting. Liam's eyes reddened. Aurora, look, this is the ring I promised you. After everything, I worked day and night to craft it. Today it's finally finished. He tried. Again, his voice desperate. I know I've done many wrongs. I don't ask for remarriage, I only ask for a chance to pursue you again. Please, can you give me that? I snatched the ring from his hand and flung it onto the ground. It bounced, then rolled into a nearby drain, disappearing into the darkness. Liam Harrison, I stated, my voice cold and final. The current you to me is just like this ring, only fit to be in a sewer. My voice rose, cutting through the air. Liam Harrison, don't force me to hate you. With that, I got into my car and drove away, leaving him standing there amidst the scattered rose petals. From that day on, I never saw Liam Harrison again. Later, at a family dinner, Julian casually mentioned that Serafina had found another wealthy patron. When the man's wife discovered them, Serafina was beaten so severely that she became paralyzed from the waist down, condemned to spend the rest of her life in bed. As for Liam, he had donated all his assets and moved to a remote place to become a monk. One day I received an email. It contained only 3 words. I am sorry. I dragged it to the trash bin without a second thought. Life was long and I had so many more people to love and things to do. As for those irrelevant people, let them be carried away by the wind.